to the Growing the Good Life podcast. I am your host, Michelle Roberts, and today we're going to talk about the Certified Naturally Grown certification that our farm has just achieved back in October of this year. So I wanted to speak with you about some of the things that have been going on the farm since then, or since our last podcast episode, because most of the activity, if not all of the activity regarding the Certified Naturally Grown work was done since I've talked to you last. So we have a lot to catch up on. And I wanted to start out by sharing with you what this certification is, why we did it, in case you are excited or interested in doing this for yourself. So Certified Naturally Grown is several decades old. It came to be as an alternative to organic certification. It is pretty obvious to us now, but hasn't always been so obvious, that organic labeling can mean a lot, or it can mean very little, depending on who has that label slapped on their products. We all know that organic certification can be obtained by any size farm. And oftentimes what has happened recently is that larger farms that are not organic have sliced off a bit of their production to satisfy the organic needs of consumers. And so a very small fraction of what they're doing has been turned into organic, and it really doesn't affect their bottom line very much. They're not very passionate about it, but because their customers want it, it seems to be something that they're interested in supplying. And those organic certifications are not cheap. An organic certification for a farm my size, as I understand it, is at least $3,000 a year. It's in the thousands of dollars to become certified organic. And that is cost prohibitive and out of reach of most micro farms, small farms that are intensively planted, that are under an acre, that are similar to our farm. So we wanted a way to communicate to our customers or our potential customers what was important to us, how our growing practices are carried out, what is done with their food, how their food is treated, so they could feel comfortable and confident about buying from us and feeding our food to their families. And so we started looking into the Certified Naturally Grown certification. And so I started looking into this past spring. As you know, we got a greenhouse set up. We ran water and electricity out to the garden this year. We expanded from a 1/10 acre to not only a 1/4 of an acre, but then also almost a 1/2 acre. And now in December, we're finally expanding to that full 1/2 acre size. And we've built a farm stand. All this stuff has happened within the last year. So there's a lot that's been going on. And really the last bit that we wanted to do was this certification, because it was really the last piece of the puzzle. So I filled out our application in April 2023. It was given a conditional approval by the staff, but the second part of that is always the on-site peer inspection, which was carried out at the end of September. It took some time to get that scheduled, and so we started the conversations to get it scheduled in July, and then we arrived on a date end of September, and we are now officially certified naturally grown as of the beginning of October in 2023. As I understand it, we are currently the only farm in Cleveland County that is certified. That doesn't mean there hasn't been a farm in the past that might have been certified, but right now we are the only farm that is certified naturally grown. And what that means to you as a consumer, or what that means to any consumer, is that it means a couple things. It means that we don't use synthetic, man-made fertilizers or pesticides or herbicides. There are no chemicals in our garden that are used that are synthetic. We use natural chemicals only, and only when we need to. That is a very, very specific, very important thing about Certified Naturally Grown that not a lot of people understand. It's not that we douse our plants in chemicals that just happen to be natural. There's a whole fundamental way of looking at pest control that puts chemical use as a last resort always. And we use mechanical methods. We use our planting, we use timing and mechanical methods to really do our best to get around pest infestations that can cause problems with our crops. So we'll also use things called trap crops. We know that certain pests like aphids love particular plants while they don't love others as much. And so if we're strategic about what we plant and when we plant it, and then if we're strategic about netting and micro meshes, we can make this pest problem as small as possible so that when we do go in and use that natural chemical, we're not having to use a ton of it, because we don't want to do that. We want to use as little as possible. And there are some certified natural growers, even close by us, who have chosen not to use any chemicals at all. And that's just how they have chosen to run their businesses, and more power to them. I think that's great. So we are an organization, we are a farm that is very, very determined to build soil health. We take our clay soil, we amend it twice a year with leaf mulch that's heavily composted. Then in doing that, we are adding back the organic matter that our earthworms love to eat. And we are very intentional about that because we want to make sure that that clay soil has all of the organic matter it needs to really be great. And clay soil is wonderful at holding nutrients in water. It has a very high cationic exchange capacity. So that couple that with the organic matter that we're building in, and our use of natural chemicals, and our whole way of looking at things, we want to make sure our customers and our community know what's important to us. It's just a natural fit that we're certified naturally grown. I can't imagine us not being certified. I would still use certified naturally grown methods and procedures, principles, and guidelines, even if we weren't, but I can't imagine us not being. So if you want to learn more about certified naturally grown, just Google it. And if you're interested in becoming a farm, I highly recommend you do so. The yearly dues are about at least a tenth, if not more, less than what an organic certification would be. And it's just so good. It feels great for our community. I'm very happy that we're certified, and I wanted to give you guys a quick update on what we've been up to and what we've been doing. So bye for now, and happy growing.